The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Working with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you.
Your host, J. Paul Newman of the monthly District Attorney Show.
The viewpoints and opinions expressed on this broadcast are the viewpoints and opinions of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints and opinions of this show, its host, or the management of this station. You are listening to WGNS. We welcome everyone to the program. My name is J. Paul Newman. My co-hosts today are Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. We thank WGNS for providing the airtime, and we also thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We will begin our broadcast after you listen to these important messages.
Hi, this is Dan with Music World and Drummers Den. Our prices are as good or better than the box stores. I don't think you'll do better by shopping online than you would by coming in. If you're into podcasting, we have starter kits that have everything you need to get started. The interface for your computer, microphone, headphones, you'll be online in no time. If you need a PA, you need lights, we've got all for rent. Music World and Drummers Den, 2762 South Church Street, right across from the golf course.
This is Peter Demas, and our family is inviting your family to come eat with us at Demas's Restaurant. We really focus on value. They get value. They get more than what they pay for. They get a higher level service. They get higher level food at a price that is a lot more affordable. What we're trying to do is we're trying to give people the value, and again, that they were fulfilled both within their stomach and as well as their pockets. We want them to feel satisfied. Come eat with us at Demas's Restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
For over a decade, on the first Friday of each month, the Rutherford County District Attorney General's Office has been honored to have been provided airtime as part of the Action Line program. During our broadcast, it is our goal to help keep the community up to date on events occurring in the criminal justice system within our community. I believe one of the most important functions of our program is to keep the community aware of unsolved criminal activity that has plagued our community, especially unsolved murders. As part of that function, it has been my honor to bring to you many of Rutherford County's criminal justice success stories as well. I believe there is no greater success than when our criminal justice system works to solve, prosecute, and convict someone who is guilty of the crime of murder. The success is even greater when the case had remained unsolved for over a decade or more. On today's program, we will examine the problems and the issues involved in investigation and prosecution of these unsolved homicides. And we will also discuss why it is so important that we never forget any unsolved murder. Joining me in this discussion will be former Rutherford County District Attorney General William C. Weitzel, Jr., and Bill and I will be joined by former Rutherford County cold case detectives Bill Sharp and Dan Goodwin as we discuss the illustrious and proud history of cold case investigations in Rutherford County. We welcome now to the WGNS microphones retired District Attorney General William C. Weitzel, Jr., and his two special guests, retired cold case detectives Bill Sharp and Dan Goodwin.
Bill and Dan, when we talk about the cold case unit and the success it's had, I think it all starts with Truman Jones.
Absolutely.
Yep. And if you would kind of tell the audience about how it began and what it had evolved into.
How it started is obviously with the Laura Salmon homicide case, and that was in 2001 when the arrest was made. Shortly thereafter, obviously we had success with you prosecuting and J. Paul doing a great job on that. But Sheriff Jones asked if we were being interested in starting a cold case unit. Obviously, when we started, we were starting at bare. We had no idea what we were doing or how we were going about it, but Truman was instrumental in setting that path for us. So it basically started with the Laura Salmon case and then sort of expanded from there.
Remembering the Salmon case and, of course, having prosecuted it, I know it was a case that haunted the sheriff's department, the original detectives that investigated it, my predecessor, Guy Dotson. I know within the DA's office, when I was an assistant, it was reviewed several times, and I know that the sheriff's department reviewed it several times also. And I guess the moral of that story is don't ever give up and good things will happen.
Absolutely. You know, when Dan and I do in services, we often talk about this. And the way we classify it, it's the day that Murfreesboro lost its innocence. They've had murders before, but this was a young girl, teenager. And, you know, I can't say enough about Miss Hammondtree, who is Laura's mother. That, as you know, she probably wore you out with phone calls, and Guy Dotson Sr. as well. So it is never give up.
Tell us about how do you pick a case to start working on?
And we had no training in it. Bill had worked on a couple of murders before this. I'd never worked a murder. So we went at it from the position of trying to tell the story of why. Bumbled on the good ways to do it and even invented some other stuff ourselves.
Well, certainly technology and the advancements in technology can sometimes be key in these cases. But my experience and working with you all and on cold cases, it's really a dedication and what some might call gumshoe detective work, re-interviewing witnesses, tracking witnesses down.
We are very fortunate because we had an administration supervisors that supported this endeavor. It's expensive, and we understand that. There's times that we've taken trips that the interviews turned out to be, I don't want to say worthless, but not what we expected. So we've been fortunate on that aspect is being supported by the administrations over the years to continue supporting this. And I think the other thing that's important here, obviously the victims, but the families of the victims, you know, we work closely with all these families. You build a relationship with these families. Some of the families that we've spoken to said, you know, they just want something done, and they realize the obstacles that are faced by working these cold cases, lost evidence and so forth, witnesses and suspects. But we had one tell us one time, you know, just going to bat, even if we swing and miss, the fact that we took it and let a jury decide.
I want to tell you that working with you guys was a real honor. I'm just happy that these cases don't go away, that people are always working. And as you stated, if you have any information on a case, please contact the Sheriff's Department. And I congratulate you on your success.
I want to thank you and General Newman for the years that you put in with us as well. I think we made a fine team and couldn't have done it without you, obviously. So thank you.
People in this county should know they have probably the finest prosecutors in the state of Tennessee. And despite our smaller size, some of the highest court rate and a great conviction ratio here.
This is Paul Newman. We will be asking for your help in our cold case profile. You are listening to this special edition of The Action Line on WGNS.
Every homicide, every rape, every robbery affects the entire community. People who are victims of these crimes need closure. The people who committed these crimes must be held accountable. Law enforcement needs the community's help in seeking justice. Please listen as we review an unsolved mystery in this month's Cold Case Profile.
It was the early morning hours of April 24th, 2006, that Annalise Guerra was reported missing from her home in Smyrna, Tennessee. Annalise's mother reported that she had last seen her daughter the night before after putting her to bed. Her mother said she woke up in the middle of the night and discovered that Annalise was gone. She told investigators that Annalise Guerra was last seen wearing a small jean dress with little sunflowers. The Smyrna police exhausted every lead. The media was utilized in an effort to keep the public aware.
hoping that someone would find Annalise. Law enforcement and community members conducted an extensive search of the Smyrna area, even draining Stewart's Creek. Over 60 people were interviewed, but despite the best efforts of the Smyrna Police Department, no one could locate 2-year-old Annalise Guerra. It would be over 20 months before there was a break in the case. On January the 4th, 2008, a couple walking in the Stones River National Battlefield found what appeared to be skeletal remains. The remains were later identified to be the remains of Annalise Guerra. The medical examiner ruled that Annalise Guerra died from blunt force trauma. Another interesting aspect of the case was that the clothing her mother described when she first talked to the police was found nearby. This led investigators to believe that Annalise had been killed around the same time she disappeared. The person who killed 2-year-old Annalise Guerra is still at large. It is a case that the Smyrna Police Department continues to investigate. They remain dedicated and confident that this case can and will be solved. Pam Miracle was last seen alive on July 25, 1991. Pam Miracle was employed as a nurse's assistant at the Boulevard Terrace Rehabilitation Center here in Murfreesboro. She also lived in Murfreesboro, sharing a Division Street apartment with her boyfriend, who was a cab driver. The couple had access to one car, a 1976 Pontiac Astor. Pam Miracle's boyfriend picked her up from work on July 25, 1991. He reportedly drove her to and dropped her off at the old Greyhound bus station near the intersection of Manny Street and Broad Street. That was the last time anyone reports seeing Pam Miracle alive. Pam Miracle's family lived in the state of Ohio and had limited contact with her because of that. Approximately 2 weeks after that July date, on August the 9th, 1991, Pam Miracle was reported missing by her work supervisor at the rehabilitation center. The supervisor told police that Pam Miracle was last seen at work on July 25, 1991. The Murfreesboro police go to the couple's Division Street apartment, and there they locate Pam Miracle's purse and her personal belongings. Weeks later, on August 27, 1991, the couple's 1976 Pontiac is located. The car was found in the parking lot of the Windmill Bar, which was located on Northwest Broad Street near what is now Thompson Lane. Then, 10 months after her disappearance, Pam Miracle's lifeless body was found off an access road next to I-24 in Smyrna. The family and friends of Pam Miracle and law enforcement officials now ask for your help. If you saw Pam Miracle near the day of her disappearance or have information concerning her disappearance or death, please contact law enforcement officials. We specifically ask if you were a friend or co-worker of Pam Miracle and have never talked to the police that you please contact law enforcement. The people who loved Pam Miracle have had to endure the agony of not knowing who killed her or why. You may have the missing piece of the puzzle that solves this case. If you have any information regarding the disappearance and murder of Pam Miracle, please contact the Murfreesboro Police Department. 16-year-old China Vidian was last seen by her mother the evening of October 19, 1999 at the Murfreesboro Hair Salon. China Vidian left the area of the hair salon driving her black 1999 Mazda Protege. That is the last time China Vidian's whereabouts can be established. That is the last time anyone has reported seeing China Vidian alive. China Vidian was 5 weeks shy of her 17th birthday when she disappeared. The young teenager was a part-time employee at the new Bilo supermarket at the corner of Rutherford Boulevard and Southeast Broad Street. She was also a junior at Riverdale High School. Her mother, Suzanne Vidian, became worried when China didn't answer pages or return home at her curfew time. Suzanne Vidian called law enforcement and reported China Vidian missing in the very early morning hours of October the 20th, 1999. Her report began an investigation by the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Before 3 a.m. that morning, a statewide Be on the Lookout for was issued for China Vidian and her car. Despite the concentrated efforts of concerned friends, family, and law enforcement, the investigation did not uncover any significant leads as to the whereabouts or welfare of 16-year-old China Vidian. A break in the investigation came in June of 2000. China Vidian's car was discovered in the parking lot of a Nashville apartment complex located just off Interstate 24 at Harding Place in Antioch, Tennessee. The car was processed for evidence by Metropolitan Police. The police at that time theorized that China Vidian's car had been in the apartment complex parking lot since shortly after she disappeared. The theory was supported by certain items that were found in the car. Since the investigation began on October 20th, 1999, until now, investigators from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office have developed and investigated hundreds of leads. Several persons of interest have been interviewed, but no one has been charged. In 2007, China Vidian was legally declared to be dead. Despite the best efforts of family, friends, and law enforcement, the China Vidian disappearance remains an unsolved mystery. The family, friends, and law enforcement officials now ask for your help. If you saw China Vidian near the day of her disappearance or have information concerning what may have caused her disappearance, please contact law enforcement officials. We specifically ask if you were a friend, a classmate, or co-worker of China Vidian and have never talked to the police, please contact law enforcement. China Vidian was a 16-year-old child the day she disappeared. The people who loved her have had to endure the agony of not knowing what happened to her. You may have the missing piece of the puzzle that solves this case. If you have any information regarding the disappearance and fate of China Vidian, we urge you to please contact the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office.
Shop and save. Well, those deals never seem to stop.
Hi, I am Tina. You never know what you may find at the Habitat Restore.
Hi, I'm Wendy.
Hey, this is Rocky. You never know what you'll find at the Habitat Restore.
We have doors.
Shopping at the Restore.
Yes, we have doors. We have interior and exterior doors available.
Hey, come check them out.
We're hiring at the Habitat Restore. Stop by 850 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard for more information.
The monthly District Attorney Show, heard the first Friday of each month, exclusively on News Radio WGNS. Your host, J. Paul Newman, will now take you on a journey to explore recent Rutherford County court cases, cold cases, and more.
On a previous broadcast, Bill Whitesell spoke on why our community should be willing to come forward and help solve an unsolved murder. Listen now to Bill's perspective.
Paul, you know this. It's very important on these cases as they get age on them. We want people to know that we don't forget about them. We've got somebody out there that's a murderer. And I know people are sometimes fearful. They're afraid if they give information or something that something may happen to them. And certainly I can understand that. But we need people to come forward and put a violent person behind bars. If this person is arrested and charged and convicted, everybody knows that. And hopefully it would make somebody think twice about taking a human life. So it's dedication on the part of the police and the investigators, but it's also a dedication on the part of our citizens to be a part of the process, because without them, we cannot pursue, arrest, and prosecute these cases. And they're responsible just as much in a way as the police are for making their community a safer place. So I would certainly urge anyone with any information on cases to come forward.
One of the toughest cases for law enforcement to solve is one where a decomposed body is found and no identification can be located. If it is a male body, the body is simply referred to as John Doe. If it is a female body, they are referred to as Jane Doe. This case involves the death of someone who we can only refer to as Jane Doe. It was November the 14th, 2007, when Detective Bob Hayes of the Laverne Police Department discovered the body of Jane Doe. At the time, Detective Hayes was searching for the body of another completely unrelated murder victim. That victim was Nikki Cicino. As Detective Hayes searched the woods for Nikki Cicino's body, he made an unexpected and gruesome discovery. Detective Hayes saw what first appeared to him to be animal bones, but upon closer examination, the remains were identified as human, and the remains appeared to be female. The body was badly decomposed, and no identification was located. To make matters worse, the victim's face could only be described as unidentifiable. From that day forward, the body has been referred to as Jane Doe. Her death was indeed a homicide. The cause of her death was a gunshot wound. Experts estimated that Jane Doe's body had been in the field between 4 and 6 months. Here is what is known about Jane Doe. Jane Doe wore jewelry, including an Avon necklace with cat imprints. She also had a ring with amber and emerald-colored stones. Also, forensic artists prepared composite drawings of what they believe Jane Doe may have looked like when she was alive. As a result of all of the investigative efforts, the following information has been assembled. At the time of her death, Jane Doe is believed to have been between 25 and 45 years of age. She was between 5'2" and 5'9" tall. Her hair appears to be dark-colored and curly. One of the strongest leads is that Jane Doe had a lot of dental work. Her dental x-rays have been sent to dentists around the state. The Laverne Police Department has worked for many years trying to identify the body of Jane Doe. Those vast efforts have yielded some information, but Jane Doe's true identity remains a mystery. If you wish to review the information regarding Jane Doe, or view the jewelry that Jane Doe was wearing, or view the artist drawings of how they believe Jane Doe would have appeared when she was alive, go to the internet and simply type in Jane Doe Laverne. A family somewhere has been missing a loved one, and the person or persons who murdered Jane Doe remain free to murder again. There is an update in the case involving the murder of Jane Doe. We now know the true identity of Jane Doe. Jane Doe's true identity is that of Mary Alice Mahoney. Mary Alice Mahoney was 40 years old at the time of her death. She was originally from the state of Connecticut, but was living in the Nashville area at the time of her death. It was through the efforts of law enforcement, the DNA Doe Project, and citizen involvement that a DNA sample was obtained and successfully matched to be that of Mary Alice Mahoney. We are now a step closer to solving this murder. If you have information, please contact the Laverne Police Department. The number to call is 615-793-7744. That number again is 615-793-7744. It was February the 10th, 2014, that Murfreesboro police officers responded to an apartment complex at 1306 Bradyville Pike in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The nature of the call was to investigate an unattended death. When the police arrived, the apartment complex maintenance workers informed the officers that they had discovered the lifeless body of a young man inside of a bedroom of one of the apartments. There were indications that the apartment may have been burglarized. The front door appeared to have been forced open. The deceased was identified as Mikhail Shakur. Later, an autopsy was performed. The medical examiner determined that the cause of death was a gunshot wound and that the manner of death was homicide. After 16 months of investigation, and despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the case remains unsolved. The killer or killers of Mikhail Shakur remain at large. Law enforcement is asking for your assistance. Here in the WGNS studios to ask for your help is Detective Tommy Massey of the Murfreesboro Police Department. Detective Massey is the lead detective assigned to investigate the murder of Mikhail Shakur. Detective Massey, I'm always very careful when releasing information on pending investigations, so I always leave the details up to the investigators. But are there any more details you can share with the audience at this time?
Obviously, the case remains unsolved at this point, and there are some persons of interest in the case. We're still needing some help from some people in the community that might help us tie some of the leads that we have been able to develop together so that we might be able to go forward in pursuing some charges in this case. Mr. Shakur was not a resident at that apartment complex, so we believe there is a possibility that he could have been a person that just happened to be in the right place at the wrong time. Obviously, there were people at the time. The apartment complex then was referred to as Stones River's apartment, has since been renamed to Altitude Apartments. So one of the things we'd like to see is if anyone who resided at that apartment complex then that might have seen anything around the early morning hours of February the 10th that might seem insignificant to them, they might want to come forward, because when you work these type cases, like I always say, it's like working a jigsaw puzzle, and sometimes you just need one tiny piece to maybe tie it all together.
Can you tell us why you believe that this case can be solved?
We have physical evidence, obviously, and there are several people involved in the case, which usually means that someone's going to talk. It's very hard for anyone to keep a secret, especially if there's more people involved. So we know that there's probably people talking that may have heard some things in the case. We've conducted numerous witness interviews, and we're very hopeful that with just a few pieces from some of the right people that we could tie it all together. So I believe the case can be solved with just a little assistance from the community.
If anyone has information regarding who killed Mikhail Shakur, who should they contact and what are the phone numbers?
If they wish to remain anonymous, they can always reach out to the Crime Stoppers reward hotline. There would obviously be a reward available if the information that they provide would lead us to an arrest and prosecution. If they feel comfortable enough to come forward to the police department, they're always encouraged. They can call our dispatch number, which is 615-893-1311, or they can contact the detective division at 615-893-2717 and forward that information on to myself or any other members of the Violent Crimes Unit.
Detective Massey, thank you for bringing this case to the public's attention. We appreciate your efforts and wish you success in bringing Shakur Shakur's killer to justice. The date was May the 17th, 2020, and the time was approximately 5 a.m. when the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a duplex in the 700 block of East Northfield Boulevard. Upon their arrival, the police discovered the lifeless body of 45-year-old Thomas Holland. The body is laying on the duplex driveway. Thomas Holland had been shot several times. Murfreesboro Police Detective Cody Thomas was assigned as the lead investigator on the case. As part of the investigation, an autopsy was conducted, and it was determined that Thomas Holland had been drinking prior to the shooting. Detectives also believed that there may have been an altercation that led up to Thomas Holland's death. Early in the investigation, the Murfreesboro Police Department did develop one person as a possible suspect. However, later investigators were able to exclude that person as not being responsible for the death of Thomas Holland. The Murfreesboro Police Department continues their investigation, but as of today, no one has been arrested for this brutal crime. Thomas Holland lived in Murfreesboro, and he had been a volunteer at the Greenhouse Ministries. We ask that you please join law enforcement and Thomas Holland's family in seeking justice for Thomas Holland. If you have any information regarding the murder of 45-year-old Thomas Holland, please contact the Murfreesboro Police Department. The number to call is 615-893-2717. That number again is 615-893-2717. Or you can email your information to crimetips@murfreesborotn.gov. That email address again is crimetips@murfreesborotn.gov. And if you wish to remain anonymous, you can provide your confidential information through Crime Stoppers. If your information leads to an arrest and a conviction in this case, you may be eligible to receive up to $1,000. The number to call is 615-893-7867. That number again is 615-893-7867. Please help us bring closure to those who knew and loved Thomas Holland, and help us to bring justice to whoever caused his death. This is J. Paul Newman.
Broadcasting to every nook and cranny of Rutherford County's 618 square miles. FM 100.5, 101.9, and AM 1450. This is Inside the Courts. A look at this month's trials, pleas, and grand jury action. Inside the Courts is presented as a courtesy of the Rutherford County Clerk's Office.
With today's special feature, here is Rutherford County District Attorney Jennings Jones.
Good morning, everyone. This is your District Attorney General, Jennings Jones, and today I will be your tour guide through this episode of Inside the Courts. Now, we begin this segment by stating that none of the defendants named in any upcoming trials have been convicted, and they are presumed by our law to be innocent. With that as a prelude, we will now go inside the courts. On March 19th of this year, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a residence on Fairfax Drive in response to an EMS assist. Officers arrived on scene and discovered Miss Caitlin Allen with a single gunshot wound to the head. Miss Allen died from her injuries. Detective Adam Claiborne was assigned as the lead investigator. Mr. Arthur Moore, Miss Allen's ex-boyfriend, was developed as a suspect and interviewed. Upon collection of evidence from Mr. Moore's residence and interviews conducted by the Murfreesboro Police Department, Mr. Moore was charged with the second-degree murder of Miss Allen. Mr. Moore is represented by counsel Mr. Josh Crane, while the state is represented by Assistant District Attorneys Matt Westmoreland and Trevor Lynch. On April 19th of 2022, officers with the Smyrna Police Department responded to a residence on Cannon Drive in Smyrna, Tennessee, to a 911 call reporting shots fired with injuries. Upon arrival, officers located the body of Mr. Jacario Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn had been shot multiple times. Detective Steve Martin was assigned as the lead investigator. A canvass of the area revealed a residence with home security cameras and several witnesses. Through the assistance of a tip line, Mr. Wilquanta Bailey was developed as a suspect. After investigating Mr. Bailey, he was charged with first-degree murder. A preliminary hearing was held on May 11th of this year, where the court determined that sufficient proof was presented to bind the case over to the Rutherford County Grand Jury. Mr. Bailey was represented by counsel Mr. Derek Howard, and the state was represented by Assistant District Attorneys Haley Giovannani and Trevor Lynch. On December 14th of last year, officers with the Laverne Police Department responded to a residence on Gary Lane in response to a shooting. Officers arrived on scene and discovered Mr. Andreas Olea Perez with a single gunshot wound to the chest. Mr. Perez died from his injuries. Detective Nicholas Lidke was assigned as the lead investigator. Kevin Padilla Martinez, Azel Lopez Hernandez, and a juvenile suspect were apprehended while attempting to flee the area in an automobile. Mr. Martinez and Mr. Hernandez were charged with second-degree murder and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Juvenile petitions were taken against the juvenile for the same charges. The juvenile suspect appeared before the juvenile court on March 4th of this year, where juvenile court judge Travis Lempley transferred the juvenile to adult court. On March 10th of this year, a preliminary hearing was held in the General Sessions Court for Rutherford County, and the court found sufficient proof to bind Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Martinez's cases over to the Rutherford County Grand Jury. Mr. Hernandez is represented by counsel Mr. David Clark, and Mr. Martinez is represented by Mr. Christian Moore. The state is represented by Assistant District Attorneys Trevor Lynch and Matt Westmoreland. On October the 13th of last year, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a 911 call for shots fired at a residence on Las Casas Pike in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Upon arrival, officers discovered Mr. Jaleel Turner lying unresponsive on the floor of his apartment, suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Mr. Turner later died from his injuries. Detective William Pullias was assigned as the lead investigator. Miss Shakira Brown has been charged with second-degree murder. A preliminary hearing was held on February the 17th of this year before the General Sessions Courts. Upon hearing testimony, the court found probable cause to bind the matter over to the grand jury. Miss Brown is represented by counsel, Mr. Brent Horst, and the state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. On October 27, 2024, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to an emergency assist where a man identified as Mr. Harold Cruz had sustained injuries to the head. At the conclusion of the investigation, Mr. Clinton Johnson was charged with first-degree murder. On January 24th of last year, Mr. Johnson appeared before the General Sessions Courts of Rutherford County and bound his case over for presentation to a grand jury. In August of last year, the grand jury indicted Mr. Johnson for first-degree murder and aggravated robbery. His next appearance is scheduled for August 20th of this year. Mr. Johnson is represented by Mr. Drew Perkins, while the state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Matt Westmoreland. On September 4th of 2024, officers with the Smyrna Police Department responded to a gas station on North Lowry Street in Smyrna. Once on scene, officers located Mr. Harlan Webb, who had sustained a single gunshot wound to the chest. Mr. Webb was transported to Stonecrest Hospital, but ultimately died from his injury. Investigators located several individuals on scene, including Mr. Rocky Melton and Miss Shazy Rainey. Officers later learned two others, Mr. Billy Mahan and a juvenile suspect, fled the scene. The investigation revealed that Mr. Melton, Miss Rainey, Mr. Mahan, and the juvenile suspect attempted to rob Mr. Webb. When Mr. Webb resisted, he was shot by the juvenile suspect. Police later apprehended Mr. Mahan and the juvenile suspect. All parties have been charged with first-degree murder, attempted especially aggravated robbery, and conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery. Mr. Melton was also charged with providing a handgun to a juvenile. Miss Rainey and Mr. Mahan were next scheduled to appear before a circuit court judge on June 26th of this year, and Mr. Melton is scheduled to appear for July 23rd of this year. Mr. Melton is represented by Mr. Ben Lewis, Miss Rainey by Josh Crane, and Mr. Mahan is represented by Mr. Christian Moore. The state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. In early April of 2023, officers with the Smyrna Police Department responded to a disturbance at the Little Caesars Pizza Place in Smyrna, Tennessee. An employee had become disruptive and confrontational. Officers soon learned that the female employee was a minor, and she was upset about an inappropriate text message sent to her by her manager, Eduardo Rodriguez. She had also learned that Mr. Rodriguez was a registered sex offender. Several minors worked at the pizza place, and upper management apparently knew of Mr. Rodriguez's status as a sex offender. During the course of investigating a violation of the sex offender registry, officers learned of a potential sexual relationship with one of the employees that was 15 years old. Mr. Rodriguez was 53-year-old at the time. Detective Steve Hanna was assigned as lead investigator. Detective Hanna began an investigation by interviewing witnesses and obtaining one video taken by fellow employees showing the juvenile and Mr. Rodriguez embracing each other and appearing to kiss. Surveillance began on Mr. Rodriguez, and on April 12th of 2023, officers located Mr. Rodriguez in his car with the 15-year-old minor. Evidence collected included cell phones from both occupants and a dash cam belonging to Mr. Rodriguez. Digital extractions from both phones established a sexual relationship between Mr. Rodriguez and the minor. In addition, 11 photographs classified as child sexual abuse material were located in Mr. Rodriguez's phone. Mr. Rodriguez was arrested for multiple counts of violating the sex offender registry, and was later indicted on 2 counts of statutory rape by an authority figure, 10 counts of especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, and driving on a suspended license. Video from the dashcam and recorded calls between the defendant and minor victim further confirmed the sexual nature of their relationship. This matter was scheduled for trial to begin on June 1st of this year. However, on the morning of the trial, the defendant pled guilty to both counts of statutory rape by an authority figure, 1 count of especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, 2 counts of violation of the sex offender registry, and Mr. Rodriguez was sentenced to serve 20 years in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Corrections. The defendant was represented by counsel Mr. Rusty Perkins, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Sharon Reddick. And that will conclude today's look of Inside the Courts.
The viewpoints and opinions expressed on this broadcast are the viewpoints and opinions of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints and opinions of this show, its host, or the management of this station. You are listening to WGNS.
This is Tina Fox at the Rutherford Farmers Co-op. Please come and see us for all your garden needs. We have everything you need to help that garden grow, and we also have what you need for landscaping and your lawns. We have black and brown mulch in bulk. Please come see us. And as always, don't forget us for all your gift, clothing, and pet needs. This is Tina Fox. Your Co-op Farm and Home Center is located at 985 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, just off of South Church.
Broadcasting from the tallest tower in the city with that little red light on top. FM 100.5, FM 101.9, and AM 1450.
The monthly District Attorney Show, heard exclusively on News Radio WGNS the first Friday of each month.
If you missed any part of this program, it will be available shortly as a podcast on the WGNS website. As we end our program today, we thank WGNS for providing the airtime. And we thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We leave now by saying, a safe community is the responsibility of each and every one of us. For my 2 co-hosts, Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. This is J. Paul Newman, bidding all of you a safe and blessed day.
The District Attorney's Office thanks you for listening to today's program. If you have any information regarding criminal activity in our community, please contact one of our law enforcement agencies. The information presented on today's show is solely for informational benefit and not intended to be legal advice. You should always consult an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice. Rutherford County's most trusted name in news. Talk Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro.
From brakes and alignments to new tires and wheels, Tire World, locally owned and operated in Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne.
Tire World, we keep your family rolling.
Online at tireworld.us.
Hey, Jim, where'd you source out those maters from?
Right out of my field.
The Rutherford County Farmers Market is located at 315 John R. Rice Boulevard. Open Friday 8 to noon, Tuesday 7 to noon or 2 to 7.
No middlemen, just local hands and local dirt.
When it comes to your home, memories and sentimental value are priceless. Farrah Construction can remodel your home or can update your kitchen, bath, or other rooms. I'm Ron Hall. If you can dream it, Farrah Construction can turn it into reality. Call Farrah Construction at 615-893-6120. That's Farrah Construction. I'm Ron Hall. Shop local. Let our family business help you. Farrah Construction Company.